Alright, now we're going to take a look at another selection tool that we have inside of Photoshop to create some a little bit more complex selections. And that's moving off these marquee tool selections, because I've got a situation like this and a rectangular marquee isn't going to do the job, because that's just going to give me a square or rectangle in terms of my selection. And I actually want to go around the building like so. So I have some other selection tools here that I've got at my disposal. I have a lasso tool, which essentially just kind of draws a selection around my image. But what's going to happen with that is it's not going to give me those straight lines like I want, and that's going to be really difficult to draw with the mouse. So, that might be useful for other things, but not for this purposes. So I'm going to get rid of that one. And instead, I'm going to focus on the polygonal lasso tool, which is going to allow me to select around those straight edges, which is exactly what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and create this into an editable layer. Double click like so. And I will start on the bottom edge here. And every point that I see this kind of shape start to intersect here, I'm going to create a point for myself and click and basically drag around, and I'm going to get the shape of this building and continue to go around like so, and go all the way down, and another transfer here, and then I'll basically make my way up and around, and I'm going to end up with the very first point that I started with, and I'm just going to select on that. And once I do, I essentially get my marching ants again. Now, if I click my move tool once again, I'm essentially going to get that selection there. But what happens if I notice here, I've got my scissors, that's going to move the sky, which is not what I want. So I'm going to Control Z there, go back to my selection, and I instead want to have the opposite of that. So I'm going to use my select and inverse. So now when I drag over, I'll see the scissors kind of goes here, which is what I want, and that's going to move my building for me. So I'm going to click and drag over there, and now I essentially have my building. Now I do have some artifacts here which I don't want, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I can use my marquee tool to just get rid of those. So I'll select that, click backspace, select that, click backspace. Oops, come over here and make another selection, click backspace, and delete what I do not want. And so that's a nice combination. I can kind of clean that up. I did a really rough selection around there, but utilizing my marquee selection tool, I'm very easily able to go back and make those modifications that I need.